I'm definitely. Oh wait, no, I can't take advantage of that prop. Damn it.
Welcome back, everybody, to Brown Bag Bets. Powered by BetSperts, we are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and as is Tuesday tradition, we lend Andy back to the folks at BetSperts Golf and bring in Mr. Matthew Rooney. And I wanted to start by asking you a question, Matt, because something just looks wrong to me. Apparently, the White Sox lost 3 times in a row to the Twins. That has to be a mistake, right? They won one of those games.
The White Sox are off to a little bit of a slow start. That's okay. That's okay. Dan's Braves are off to a little bit of a slow start. The Houston Astros are off to a little bit of a slow start. It's all right. It's cold. They don't like playing in the cold. They've had some bad luck here and there. They've had some injuries. We'll be fine. It's a sprint, not a marathon. This is actually, I think, I've seen the Sox get down to like minus 175 some places to win the AL Central. This is about when you want to hop on that prop. Is probably the best value you're going to find for it. I know Andy was texting me this morning on Slack and giving me a little bit of crap. He sent his whatever plus whatever, I forgot what number he got the Twins to win the division at, but he could cash it. I think it was bet like 150 to win like 160, or he could cash out for like 160 something. He was thinking about cashing out on that now and making the $11 profit. I said go for it. I think that might be the best profit you're going to get. Go ahead and cash out on it.
Just anything really to distract myself from whatever the Sixers tried to do last night. So thank you. Thank you for being so nice about that.
How about your guy Kyle Schwarber with that little freak out the other night too? I don't think they won that game, but they won that moment for sure.
We'll see. It's anything to get the Phillies going. It's, again, I always talk about my mom and the Phillies. She actually told me the other day that she doesn't want to go to a Phillies game right now. So
wow.
Get your shit together, Phillies.
Phillies fan, not White Sox fans aren't to the extent of aggressiveness as Phillies fans, but I feel like there's some kindred spirit there, kind of a little bit of a blue collar fan base who they get more angry with their teams than sad about their teams and tend to do the whole, like we're not going to show up kind of thing. I don't want to go to a game. What White Sox attendance has been pretty good to start the year, and there's been a whole lot of we're not going to games until they figure it out or until Tony La Russa is fired. It's been a fun toxic place. White Sox Twitter has been so far this year through the rough start. I'm sure Phillies Twitter has been pretty similar.
Well, now that we're feeling really good, let's talk about something actually positive. We got some NFL draft props, but there's some good news. We have a great offer from our sponsors, FanDuel. If you are lucky enough to be in a state that has draft props, unlike me, you just go in, bet $5 on any draft prop, and you immediately get $125 in site credit. So at least $5 on any draft prop, whether it wins, whether it loses, doesn't even matter. You don't have to wait. Go in, make the bet. The site credit comes over right away. Pretty solid offer. You can see the states down there at the bottom, and there will be a link to the offer in the YouTube channel. So go ahead and click through that link and make sure you get that little free money, Matt. That's kind of nice.
It's a no-brainer. And hey, if you already signed up, go ahead, find a friend that hasn't signed up with FanDuel, a significant other that hasn't signed up with FanDuel, a parent that hasn't signed up with FanDuel. It's $5 to get you $125 in free bets. Like it's an absolute no-brainer, and we are the only place on the internet that you can get it from. So if you're not signing up and taking advantage of it, I'm not really sure why you're on FanDuel. You should be. You should be taking advantage of the offer.
Again, I don't have any draft props, unfortunately, but you are lucky enough to live in a state that does. Do you have any suggestions here for the fine folks looking to get this $5 or more down? Actually, I like some of these looks. Maybe go a little more.
Yeah, I was poking around, and it seems like the first two picks have kind of shifted. Seemed to be Aiden Hutchinson was going to be a lock, and now the odds are swinging heavily in favor of Trayvon Walker. And then, like, when something like that happens, it's usually because people know some stuff, and it's probably a good reason to stay away from it. I know that Shad Khan seems to want Aiden Hutchinson; he's the owner, but when the odds swing that far in one direction, it kind of usually isn't for without reason. I went with essentially these are Carolina Panthers props because I think this is two of the directions they might go. Kenny Pickett going first over as the first QB taken. I don't think a QB is going to be taken unless the Lions really shock us with like a Malik Willis pick number 2, which I also don't think happens. I think Kenny Pickett will be the first QB taken because I don't think one's going before 6th. To Carolina. And I think if you're Carolina, you're probably going for a quarterback that's a little bit more need more, a little bit more ready to win now. While Malik Willis might have the higher ceiling, Kenny Pickett is a little bit more, I think, advanced and kind of ready to plug in right away. And that coaching staff and Matt Rule has been close with Kenny Pickett. They have a relationship with him, and they're in a not necessarily win now mode, but they need to turn it around fairly quickly. And in a bad division, if you get the right quarterback, come and play pretty well early, he could save a job maybe a little bit easier than Malik Willis could. And then Evan Neal, sixth overall. Sixth overall is where Carolina's picking at plus 600. The other route I could easily see them going is offensive line. They had a terrible offensive line last year. I think they allowed the most sacks in the NFL, if not the most, right there. I think I butcher this name every time. Ike Ikwanu, the NC State tackle. I know of him. I just can never say that name. It always sounds weird to me, but I think he's going to go before sixth overall. His odds to go sixth overall are plus 700. So if you think he drops, I think he's going to be the first offensive lineman off the board. I just think he goes before sixth. So Evan Neal, the Alabama left tackle, if you're Matt Rule and company, I could easily see them if they don't want to go quarterback or if they make a trade for a Baker Mayfield. Hey, let's just go get the Alabama offensive tackle who plays really well on the left side and bolster that offensive line. So plus 600, kind of like those odds too. So there you have it. Kenny Pickett plus 150 first QB. Evan Neal sixth overall at plus 600.
Kenny Pickett is a great quarterback name. I'm not sure if he's any good, but that is the name profile that you're looking for in a good quarterback. So I think he's got a chance.
It's the ideal quarterback name. It's a fantastic quarterback name. I'm all in on it. Kenny Pickett's going to be a star. You heard it here first on Brown Bag Bets.
Handicapping solely on names, folks. That's the kind of stuff that you definitely shouldn't do. But
name matters.
As I said, anything to distract myself from the Sixers, who were just awful last night, couldn't make a shot, tons and tons of turnovers. But, I'm sure Glenn Rivals will figure something out, right? He's good at adjusting, and
you guys will be fine. You're going to win the series.
It's going to be really weird if they have to come home to play Game 7. That is not going to be an arena receptive to.
Is Embiid kind of banged up now? Is he hurt again? Is that what I'm hearing?
His finger's a little messed up. I think he hurt his elbow last night. He's just kind of picking up some knick-knack injury stuff. And again, there's just no adjustments. Toronto continues to find ways to attack him, and there's just not any secondary moves here yet. So maybe someone somewhere will try something different. We'll see. But what the heck? We'll see. 1 out of 2, right? We're going to win 1 out of 2.
You're going to get it. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. What do we got tonight?
We got 3 games tonight, and, I got 2 bets here. I was trying to get the third one. The game I didn't really know what to do. The Phoenix Suns have looked just not themselves here without Devin Booker, which is interesting because they've had spells throughout the season where they've had a chance to play without all these guys, but the Pelicans really doing a great job inside, crushing them on the board. So we'll see what they can do tonight. But the other 2 games look nice to me. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are in a great bounce back spot tonight. It's nice that Andy's not here. He doesn't have to hear me talk badly about the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it's not even really talking badly about the Timberwolves as much as the Grizzlies, again, should be a really nice bounce back spot here. You heard the coach, Taylor Jenkins, talk a lot about the free throw situation. You look at the last game, the Minnesota Timberwolves had 40 free throws, Memphis only 25. That is just a huge disparity. I think we'll see that come a lot closer. We also saw a little bit of a down shooting night from Memphis from 3. Again, all these things I think will balance out, and Memphis at home, I think they start to put a little bit of a stranglehold on this series and take care of business tonight. I had this closer to 8 myself. And then the Miami Heat minus 6.5. We did see Clint Capella play last game. He is listed at questionable, and if there's a chance he doesn't play, this number should be out closer to 10. If he does play kind of, at less than 100% like we saw from last game, I still have this closer to 8, almost 8.5, somewhere in that range. So just like the Heat here, they're at home. They're in a chance to close out this series. They know that Philadelphia is faltering a little bit, and they have a chance to kind of get some rest here, maybe get Kyle Lowry healthy for that series. And I think we'll see a great effort from Spoelstra tonight. You've seen how much better the team has been. I mean, really the only game Miami didn't play well is the game in which Kyle Lowry got hurt, and talked about that a little bit. It's really hard to not only make adjustments in games, with these playoff games, you come in with such a strong script and such an expectation of kind of what's going to happen. It makes it even harder to make those changes on the fly. So I think we'll see Spoelstra put something together here, and the Heat will take care of business tonight. So like both of these games, happy to lay the points. Feel free to do, the goofy money line parlay. There's no value in it, but what the heck, it's fun.
I'm with you on that, Grizz. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of the Heat Hawks series. I know Dan is. I think I saw him tweeting this morning about how the Hawks have had a nice season, but this is probably kind of it for them, especially if Clint Capella is kind of banged up. I like that Heat line a lot. Grizzlies Timberwolves one is one I just can't seem to. I feel like I've been on the wrong side of that every time. I just can't seem to get a finger on. It's been a really wildly entertaining series to watch. I've had a lot of fun with that one.
It's really up and down. It's been great. And Zane, I'm not going to respond to your question about Glenn Rivers closing out, but congratulations on your Celtics to win the East bet. That's very nice. You're in good shape.
Do you call him Glenn because you don't want to like call him Doc because you don't is that a is
His
that like
name
a
is Glenn.
slight?
His name is Glenn Rivers. He's not a doctor, as far as I can tell. I have done the research. I don't know why he has earned this nickname, but he will be Glenn Rivers for further notice.
Um, I'm all with you there on spite nicknames or spite name calling. I like it. I like it. He's Glenn Rivers to me then too. I got a Phillies
Now,
bet if you want to talk about some Phillies
ooh,
baseball.
let's do it. Some baseball. The Phillies. I mean, they got to be due. They got to start hitting the ball. It's finally starting to get nicer out here. What are we doing?
I like their over tonight with the Colorado Rockies, over 8 runs at -106, so pretty close to even money. I know the Phillies have kind of stumbled out of the gates here. I think they're 7-10, but like you look at their offensive numbers as a team, like they're not really that bad. I think they're hitting over 250 as a team. They're averaging about a home run a game. They just kind of need to start hitting with some runners in scoring position. Bryce Harper is going to get hot here eventually, and I don't know. New week at home. Kyle Schwarber just had that little outburst, and sometimes that weirdly galvanizes teams and kind of sparks them a little bit. They're going up against the pitcher and Herman Marquez, who's been not all that great so far this year. His ERA is like just under 4.7. I think he's allowed like 4 home runs through 16 innings pitched this year, so he's been allowing the long ball, hasn't been great. Zach Eflin's on the mound for Philly. He hasn't been good this year. His ERA is over 5. So I think that's a matchup that two teams that hit the ball pretty well in a fairly hitters friendly park in Philly. I think Philly's due for an outbreak. I think at that close to even money, I like the over 8 there. My White Sox, I'm gonna give you Andrew Vaughn 2+ total bases at +145. Sox are coming home after what we talked about was an absolutely brutal homestand, or sorry, road trip for a homestand now in Cleveland and Minnesota. As much as that White Sox lineup has scuffled from the start, Andrew Vaughn has had a really, really good start to the year. He's probably been the White Sox best, most consistent hitter, maybe outside of Tim Anderson, but I think I'd even argue Vaughn's been right there with him. Vaughn's 2+ total bases is +145. The Royals are throwing Daniel Lynch, who's a left-hander. The White Sox hit left-handed pitching really well. Andrew Vaughn hits left-handed pitching really well. You look at his splits last year, and so far this year he's been a little bit better against righties too, but he usually crushes left-handed pitching. Lynch has an ERA over 5, so he has been very good this year. Don't want to touch anything near the money line or the run line because the White Sox are throwing Dallas Keuchel, who has just been an absolute disaster so far. But I do like the White Sox bats to wake up a little bit, and Vaughn's been their best hitter so far this year, or at least one of them. So I really like that value. And going with producer Dan's Braves against the Cubs. This is not a total homer pick fading the Cubs or picking Dan's Braves. But if you look at the pitching matchup, Max Fried had a rough first two starts to the season, but went to last start out went to LA and shut down that lineup. I think it was 7 shutout innings or so in a 3-1 win there in LA. So it seemed like he kind of figured himself out there against the best lineup in the league probably. Marcus Stroman's throwing for the Cubs tonight. He's been brutal. His ERA is just under 9. He's given up long balls. He's struggling with command. I don't really like his spot or his matchup tonight against the Braves. So I'm going to take the Braves with Fried kind of figuring it out and fading Marcus Stroman, who's been pretty brutal to start the year there, plus money.
I dig it. I like the 2+ bases thing. It's as you were talking through it, I didn't realize there was how many ways you could actually do that. It's a single and a steal. It's a double
No,
home
actually,
run.
just through hits. It is just through
Oh,
hits. Unfortunately, because I had a Luis Robert
gotta
one
count.
on. I did too. I had a Luis Robert prop, I believe it was.
So you
I might
did.
have
You
even
lied
been
to
on this
me.
show, but his first at bat or second at bat, he got his first hit of the game and then stole second. I was like, wait, does that count? Does that hit? And I Googled it. It does not hit, but he still picked up a hit later in the game and I won the bet anyways. But yeah, that's still a fun one because I don't know. It's one. You're always just one swing of the bat away, and there's more value than to pick up a hit. But you're always just one swing of the bat away. Hitter can be 0 for 4 coming up in the bottom of the ninth, and you can still have a chance. And with a lot of guys, like if you have a read on your team, like I have a read on Andrew Vaughn. I watched him play a lot of baseball. I watched the White Sox play a lot of baseball. He's been their best hitter this year, but if you look at the Sox odds, he has like the 6th best odds at 2+ total bases. So that's kind of a little bit of a lean you might have on some sports books that maybe don't come around to, the guys in your team's lineup that you know a little bit, know pretty well because you watch the team every day, that Vegas kind of hasn't quite come around to yet.
I can dig it. So quiet afternoon. There's no afternoon baseball. I checked. No basketball till tonight. And I'd like to tell you could watch these tennis matches I'm going to talk about, but do that on an incognito window. Definitely don't do that on a work computer or anything like that.
That's going to be my question.
Yeah, you're going to have to maybe do something and double check the ITF website. Sometimes they run actual a couple matches, and it's hard to tell. So you might be able to find it through the ITF website, actually. But if you don't, be careful there. But 2 tennis matches actually this afternoon. Again, the big tournament in Madrid doesn't start until, I believe, Thursday. We might have some matches on Wednesday. Qualifying did start today, but the way all those lines sort of came out, it was late last night, and the matches are basically just about finished. But we're back in Charleston on the green clay. Again, the ITF level. This is a W100, so kind of high-end AA baseball, if you will, at this point, or maybe AAA baseball. I'm not really sure. Anyway, a pretty solid field overall, and 2 matches I like here, and 2 matches I like just from mostly a numbers perspective. It's hard to get into this first one. Jamie Loeb is not in great form, but she's playing Amina Bektas, another woman who's not in terribly great form. Loeb generally does well here. If you go back and look, one of the things that's important for players is making sure that they're comfortable on certain surfaces, and it's a combination of the surface, the location, and honestly the ball. And certain tournaments change things up. And again, this has been a good spot for Loeb, who probably could use a little bit of a transition back to a maybe more hard court-like surface. Again, this is a green clay, so not quite the same thing as what we'll see for the French Open and the European clay season so far. But I have this closer to -160, honestly, so happy to grab -120. Anything -130 or better looks good. And Alicia Parks has actually been playing solid. Won a couple bets for us in some of these smaller events. Goes against Caroline Dahlheide, who I've mentioned a few times, and happy to fade her again here. I have this closer to Parks -130, so anything -110 or better looks good. Both of these, again, will be this afternoon. Loeb around 2:30, and I'm sorry, actually Parks will be tomorrow. So Loeb this afternoon, and Parks will be early tomorrow morning probably.
All right, I'm on board. Usually you have some plus money picks. I'm a little bit disappointed we don't have a plus money one on the board, but that's maybe just because I have a problem with loving betting plus money odds.
There was one, but unfortunately it started just before the show, so we missed out on it. Let me see if the Madison Inglis match has started yet. If it has not, feel free to play her at like +300 or better. It's delayed, so you have a chance. Madison Inglis, looking for the Madrid qualifiers at +300 or better. You should be able to find a nice, decent number on her. She plays Varvara Gracheva whenever play looks like restarts.
Okay, +300. You piqued my interest there. I was expecting when I asked for a plus money bet you to give me something like +120, +140. You just throw out +300. I love it.
That's there's always something going on. That's the beauty of tennis, Matthew.
Should I make some hockey picks?
It might as well. I mean, I'm disappointed here. I see a minus on here, but
I know, but I got some reasoning for this one. Also, I don't know if you caught it last night, but in a basement battle there, my Blackhawks took down your Flyers. I don't know what we should have had some sort of mayor's bet about that, but I don't think the game means anything at all, and probably just helps Flyers draft position. So you're welcome. But big win for the Blackhawks last night that meant absolutely nothing. But I'll get to some hockey bets here. My first bet, like you mentioned, it's minus money, but I really feel the under is the play here. Rangers and Hurricanes, we've been talking about their race in the Metro Division. It's a must-win game for the Rangers. I believe the Hurricanes have a 2-point lead on the Rangers, both teams with just 2 games to play. This one's going to have a little bit more of a playoff feel to it. I think it's going to be played a little bit tighter. The Rangers have been very good defensively and in net at home their last couple games. I think their last 3 or 4 they've allowed no more than 2 goals. I think they also have back-to-back shutouts in their last 2 home games, if I'm not mistaken. And Carolina, they're a very solid, sound defensive team. They can score too, but I like this one to have a little bit more of a playoff feel because I also think this is probably a playoff preview of a series we're going to see in the second round. Last time these 2 teams played, it was like 2 weeks ago. I think it was 4-2 final, so it hit right at 6. But I just expect this one to be a tightly contested game. And if the Rangers are going to be the playoff success that a lot of teams think they are, I think it kind of starts tonight with showing that they can play playoff hockey against a really good team in Carolina. So I like the under there. And then Blues plus 142 money line at Colorado. Colorado has been, they've had everything locked up for the last week or two. They've lost their last four, not because they're a bad team. They're still the best team in the West, but more so because they have nothing to play for. Not much really going for them, and they're just resting, getting healthy, making sure everybody's fresh for the playoffs. Now, do they turn it up against a possible second round opponent in the Blues and try and play them a little bit tougher because they know that could be a playoff matchup? Maybe get a little more ready for that. Sure, that's possible, but the Blues have so much more to play for. Minnesota plays at home against Arizona tonight, so that's pretty much a sure win. They're both tied, I believe, at 109 points with the Wild having a game in hand. So if the Blues want any chance to have home ice in that first round matchup with Minnesota, this one is an absolute must win. They're still going to face an uphill battle, but they have to have this one pretty much because Minnesota is very likely going to go and get that win against the Coyotes. So I like I've been doing the last couple of weeks, these teams that are good with things to play for, and not the Avalanche are a bad team because they're obviously the best team in hockey, but they have really nothing to play for right now, and it's been showing the last week or so with them as they've dropped four straight. So Blues plus 142 on the money line, and then as much as it pains me, a minus money under of Rangers Hurricanes under 6.
I can dig it. Now, I'm looking in the chat here. There's apparently Champions League soccer today. Do you follow this stuff at all? Because I'm poking around. We've got Manchester City at home against Real Madrid. I'm looking at a total of 2.75. Manchester's a pretty heavy favorite. What do we got? Do you have anything?
I can't handicap that stuff to save my life, but when it's on, I do like. I mean, I'm a very, very, very casual soccer fan in terms of when it's a matchup of teams like Manchester City and Real Madrid. I'll probably tune in for a little bit. But I do know on BetSperts, I believe it's Dylan Esma usually has great previews for us. He's tweeted it out. We're going to retweet his piece. So if you're looking for some picks, that's probably a good place to start. He's been pretty on so far, or spot on with his Champions League picks. Or you can just go bother Andy on Twitter. Like, that's fine too. He's usually pretty
hop over
pretty
to the
active
golf
in
show.
betting
Just
soccer.
ask him in the chat. He'll be there.
Yeah. Get in the golf show chat. Start asking him soccer betting questions. I'm sure he'd be more than willing to help you out.
Seems maybe like an over. I don't know how the first legs of these things go, but this Manchester City team does seem to score a lot of goals here. So we'll see how it goes. Again, hop over now that we're done. I think that's it. That's all we got. Jump over to the golf show. Say hi to Andy. See if he has a soccer pick for you. Again, make sure you check out the link in the description for that great NFL draft prop. All you have to do is bet $5 or more on a prop, and you get $125 in site credit from our sponsor, FanDuel. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.